Welcome everybody to the big show. Today we're going to talk about your best picks for 2022, and what we mean is the episodes of this show that you consume the most. What are the shows that had the most downloads? So what we did is we took YouTube and we took all of the podcast apps. We combined the numbers together to come up with a list of what topics did you consume the most, want more of, and we talk about what we remember about those episodes and some of the highlights of it. So it's your list because you gave your attention to it. Also, I have a little announcement about a birthday party thing that you're going to want to hear about. Christian has some interesting stuff in the news, the world's most hated company, and a bunch of other stuff, which is really fun. And much, much more coming up on this episode of Service Drive Revolution. I was just in Florida. I spoke at SET's annual event,
which is a huge production, right?
Yeah, everything that SET is Southeast Toyota. Everything Southeast Toyota does, in my experience, is, I mean, they have a very unique position in the industry like nothing else out there, in the sense that the way that is built, they really are pro dealer, and everything they do is about making the dealers better, which is different than most manufacturers.
For sure. And
their performance shows, like the talent that they have as dealers is second to none. You know, the market share they have, the retention, everything. I mean, they're just so fun to be around. It was great. Jocko was one of the speakers.
Oh, okay.
I went on after Jocko, and I was telling Jocko that he sent us somebody. Long story short, we sell a lot of books in New Zealand and Australia. Been offered to go there a bunch of times to speak.
Wow.
Guess why I don't go?
Because of the travel?
Yeah. But we get offers.
Yeah.
But it ends up that somebody we should have on this show told me that she recommends our book to everybody over there, and she's influential over there. But the reason why she came upon us was she was sitting at a dinner with Jocko over there, and they were talking about what she does, and Jocko goes, "Oh, you should look up Chris Collins." And from there, she looked us up, and then this relationship was created.
Great.
So I was telling him about that. He remembered it. And then he's going, we have a mutual friend that he deals with that's crazy. He's the guy who gets drunk and then forgets what he did. That guy?
Yep.
Which you need one of those all the time at a party.
If nothing else, for the story the next day, right?
But it was great. So the thing about SET is there were quite a few people there that did that leadership workshop that we did, and asking them, you know, now months removed, their biggest takeaways or what they thought. And it was interesting how intimate it was to them, and how a lot of the changes that they would express to me had very little to do with work.
Oh, yeah, I could totally see that, of course, but
it's an interesting thing because it was in the context of being a more effective leader at business or at work, and most of the effect that it had was bigger than that.
Yeah, I remember you saying that at the end of the day, kind of the goal out of this was to make better citizens. Do you remember saying that to me?
Well, that's in our motto.
And it was really like encompassing of there was no blur between work and outside of work. It was like just as a general thing, that leadership stuff lifts you up as a whole. There's no divide between professional and personal.
So what's interesting, and you're trained in CIA interrogation like I am.
I've done a little bit.
Tell me what this means. When I would ask somebody, and I would word it like, hey, So since the leadership training that we did, like, how do you feel now? What are your biggest takeaways? And then they look up and then they think for a minute.
Okay, so typically that can be a couple of things. One is if they're visually actually going back and replaying everything in their head, or they're coming up with something to tell you that's not true.
Yeah, which is probably the first one.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for them not to tell the truth. But it's interesting how people have a hard time describing it, even months removed.
It's part of the magic.
Yeah, it's fun. So that being said, I am a Capricorn, which means I'm born in January.
Yes,
And
soon.
for my birthday this year, everybody knows that we've been building this library and this money pit that we bought. It's hard to explain how much money we've spent on this.
Everything is more expensive than it was supposed to be.
My birthday is in the middle of January, and for my birthday, what I was going to do is what I did last year, which was what?
You somehow skipped time and were actually in the middle of
So I
nowhere.
flew to Europe on the 12th, missed half of my birthday in the air because you lose the time. And then I landed basically when it would be like dinner for my birthday, but jet lagged, went to bed. And it's like my birthday never happened.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel about getting older.
It's really interesting.
But this year, I don't think that I can do that because of everything that's going on here. And so I came up with the idea, what I want to do for my birthday this year is I want to do my first version of this leadership experience, we'll call it. So 3 days, and I want to end on my birthday, and then I want to have a birthday party at the end of it. So
cool.
My birthday is on Friday the 13th. I want to start on the 11th with everybody, do the 11th, 12th, 13th, and then the night of the 13th, have a birthday party. We're going to try to have some sort of musician come play. I wanted Greg Dooley, but I guess we can't get a hold of him. Maybe we'll get Everlast. We'll get somebody really cool to come play, and we'll have a birthday party. I don't know if we'll have the birthday party. Probably should be at my house, not here, right? We'll see. But the library should be as complete as possible by then in order for us to be able to do that. And so it's going to be a very limited group of people that can come to it. It's going to be my first run having home field advantage. So you've gone with me and we've gone around and done it. SCT was very sweet in letting us do it for them. The Morgan Auto Group was very sweet in letting us do it. And but now it's going to be here. This is where we're going to do it. We're building this library specifically for it. So if that's something that you think would help you and you want to become a better leader and you want to be in on my birthday celebration and all the fun, you can email Jenna at info@chriscollinsinc.com. And when we get the website up, you can apply to come to it. So going forward, this will be something that you have to apply for. We're not going to just let anybody in to do it. But if you think it's something that you will get a lot out of and would like to participate in, raise your hand, send us an email, and then when we get the link, we'll send it to you.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be disappointed. I promise anybody that goes to this thing, it'll change you in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
You know what kind of gets me to thinking? There was this, speaking of like changing and what things happen to people. So there was this hospital. And then there's these 4 guys in the waiting room of the hospital. It's in the birthing section or whatever they call that, the maternity
ward.
Yeah, maternity ward. And so there's these 4 guys sitting there. And then one of the nurses comes out and talks to this first guy and says, "Hey, I just want to let you know, you're going to have twins." And the guy's like, "Really? I work for the Minnesota Twins." And crazy stuff, right? So the guy's excited, jumping around, everything like that, calling his family, saying, "You're going to have twins, going to have twins." So then like 5 minutes later, a different nurse comes out and says to another guy, it's like, "I just want to let you know, you're going to have triplets." The guy's like, "Really? I work at 3M. Another nurse comes out, goes to the third person. You're not going to believe this. Quadruplets. And the guy's like, I work at the Four Seasons. It was meant to be. So then the other guy's sitting there. He jumps out the window. And then everyone's like, what happened to that guy? And the guy that works at the Four Seasons, I don't know, but he said he worked at 7-Eleven.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the news before we get into this countdown?
One is lighthearted. The other one is just, I don't know if it's sad or funny or whatever it is. But Yahoo Finance, I do a lot of my financing through Yahoo. They came up with their list of who the worst company of the year is. Do you have a guess?
The worst company of the year.
Worst company of the year, regardless of industry.
To work for, or wouldn't it be FTX?
No. So essentially, it was the things that they were kind of looking at was like earnings. Let's see, profitability, public perception. Let's see. There's a couple other things.
Has to be FTX.
No. Carvana.
Oh, people hate Carvana.
Like literally.
The car vending machine?
Yes. So Carvana.
How did it go so wrong?
It went really, really wrong in so many different ways.
Carvana's based out of Phoenix, right? Because whenever I go there, they have a big building there.
Yeah, so I heard that there's there's videos online of people actually getting their car deliveries, and like they're just essentially like the truck just like drops and runs, and like it's bouncing off the ground and stuff when it goes in there. But so would you believe that FTX was in second place?
Really?
Good job.
People hate Carvana more than FTX.
More than FTX. They actually.
Have you ever bought crypto?
Yeah, once. And I'm essentially it's worth pennies versus what I invested in it, so I lost.
What did you buy? Like the Dogecoin?
Yeah, like Dogecoin.
But you didn't buy
a little bit of Bitcoin.
You bought a little bit of Bitcoin?
A little bit of Bitcoin, but way afterwards.
I've never bought it.
So yeah, it's one of those things like where I've got a couple $100 sitting in an account, and I just leave it there because I don't know at this point. Maybe your lightning strikes, but I'm not gonna get my money back for the most part. But they beat out companies like Meta, which typically is like one of the most hated companies. Beat Tesla. It's crazy. The company of the year, though, one of my personal favorites, Costco. You surprised about that?
I'm indifferent.
Okay, I like Costco. You don't really go to Costco, though, do you?
I mean, if I'm going to a grocery store, things have gone wrong.
It's funny. So true.
That's not my department.
So that's... yeah, I can see where you'd say that. Missy likes Costco, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so then the other thing is there's another article that actually talks about where the DMV reviews, like, personalized license plate requests. And they started to print out like a list of all the people that have been declined. I'm going to see if you can decipher these with your CIA brain.
What state is this?
California.
So people apply for a specialized plate like dog mom or...
Yeah, and then the DMV declines them. They give a reason.
So most of these have to be dirty.
I'm gonna keep the dirtiest ones out. I don't know. I'm trying not to make Kevin bleep me too much these days. All right, so the first one is the letters KYLSEAN.
What's it spell?
Kill Sean. So Kill Sean got declined.
Oh.
Sorry,
what
Sean.
What does Kill Sean mean?
I think that
is that from like a zombie movie or something?
I don't think so.
Shaun
I think
of the
somebody
Dead?
just wanted to kill Sean.
Oh.
It's terrible.
That is terrible.
Man,
Kill
one surprised
Kevin?
me a little bit that this one got declined. ITSLIT.
It's lit?
Yeah. And apparently the reason that the DMV declined it because lit could also mean intoxicated. But lit's just kind of a term that something's really, really cool these days. So I probably would have left it's lit. I would have let it go. This one is 420 EDDI.
So 420 stands for cannabis.
Yep.
And then what is it?
Yeah, so EDDI. So I'm going to assume maybe that
Weeds?
could be, or Eddie is the guy's name, was that also what I was thinking, and then ran out of room. But essentially it said 420 National Smoke Day, 420 marijuana is why it got declined.
Yep. That makes sense.
This one was funny, but I also think that the person didn't meet it. So SCHLAFR is the license plate that got declined, but it is just giving you an explanation because SCHLAFR is German for sleeper, which is something that somebody with a really cool car that's fast, that doesn't look fast, would put on their car. But apparently another definition of SCHLAFR is that it could mean terrorist. So they didn't let that go.
Because terrorists want to advertise that they're terrorists.
Yeah.
In plain sight.
Yeah, because that's usually how they roll, right? It's like, let everybody know. Man, I kind of want to say this one, but I think that it's a bleeper a little bit.
Can I see?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
So if you look at this right down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, told you.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them, but don't say the last word. They can figure it out.
Okay, so
the last word is a female dog.
Yeah, so OMW to BYB.
Yeah.
So for those of you that figured it out, congratulations. Not going to see it on the California roadways. Let's see if this last one's funny. This is great. HUF4RTD.
Huff for right?
No, it's the applicant put on there that it means have unwavering faith for respect the day. But really what it is, it's who farted.
Oh my gosh. Those are funny.
So
Can you imagine that being your job?
I think they would be great. I would just kind of put everything. I'd probably approve way more than I should. I wouldn't have that job for long because I'd just respect the creativity of people.
One of the things that was said about this leadership experience that we've created was that it's voluntary re-education camp.
Yeah.
Pretty hardcore.
Right.
Okay, you ready to go through this list?
I am.
So we look at this quite often.
We talk about it weekly.
At least once a month we go through.
Yeah, but we do stats weekly, I think. It's even more than monthly these days.
And the reason why is because you're voting with your attention. So where you put your attention is where your interest is. We also are very aware of the title has to be what the content is. We're not trying to do clickbait.
That's right.
And so then the title means something. So we're learning about what you want or what you need by what you watch.
Yeah.
In a sense. So these stats mean a lot. So when we go through, and the whole reason why we're saying this is your list, because you as the listener, the consumer of this, are voting with your attention, which is the commodity here.
Yeah, and I would say that there was clear and decisive topics. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would also say that I don't think people understand how many views and downloads we get in reference to the industry. Like I've been around people bragging about their downloads, and like we have
50.
We're at scale. Like, how much more than just AutoNation or like some of these, not AutoNation, Automotive News, or some of, I won't say their names, but some of the marketers out there that are media companies are maybe a 20th of what we're doing?
I was going to say a 10th, but maybe even some of them are a 20th. It's really impressive.
Yeah, so the relationship we have with you is very special and intimate. Like, for example, when I'm speaking at SET, I can't tell you how many people came up and talk about how much they love the show And then, I would ask, like, what would you like us to talk about? And it's very in line with what's here on this list,
Yeah, so
right?
no
But
surprises.
we are seen as providing content. One of the things that I've said many times, but has been something that is our northern light, is we want to put out better content for free than anybody else charges for.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we are held in the regard that we are, and why we get the downloads and the views that we do, is because it's special to us and it means a lot. So, the best way possible, I'd also want to say thank you for supporting us. And
I've had a couple of people, which I think is a really good compliment for that we're on the right track, is that some people say when they're watching it, they feel like they're hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Like we're just two normal folks just talking about and
We
have
really-
a
we
huge
really
passion
are.
for the industry.
Yeah.
So
And also, Christian sent me a joke a couple days ago that was dirty, but did make me laugh, but dirty, and then said that was something somebody sent me. So we do encourage you to send Christian, not me, Christian jokes.
So I've gotten jokes emailed, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah.
Like people reach us in the best ways. I love it.
But please keep it coming. It's funny.
Yeah, so great.
So there's one before the 5 that was a very close 6, almost 5. The thing too you got to understand here is, as we're reading these off, if one of these was put up earlier in the year, it kind of has an advantage.
Yeah.
This one that's almost number 5 has only been up
2 months.
2 months. And so by next year, 12 months from now, it'll probably outpace everything else.
That's another thing that's interesting too, is you go back. So we also do a thing where we'll list out like the last 100 or 200 episodes, and it's crazy, isn't it? How sometimes in year 2 people go back and you'll see like a 50 or 80 or 100 like views in a week on a year and a half old video. It's so funny how the clicker just keeps going.
Yeah, if the topic's relevant and somebody's looking for it, it's going to come up. It's going to get served up the way that it works, right? So the honorable mention and growing fast is the Andrew Bustamante CIA Spies Tips for Understanding Human Nature, which he talked about authentic leadership, reinvention, all of that. It was a great episode. I would say for me personally, that episode was cool because we talked for, 3 hours probably. And then we edited it down, and I was intimately involved in the edit there because we kind of had to move stuff around for it to make sense. But he's just an incredible human. I mean, he really is.
Yeah.
And even if he's doing some CIA trick on me to make me think he's an incredible human,
it works.
It works because he makes you feel special. He practices what he preaches. That's one thing that I like about Andrew. It's another thing that I like about Chase Hughes is at the end of the day, they practice what they preach.
That's right.
They're very authentic in the sense that they tell you and then they're doing what it is they tell you. So they're very authentic. But so that's an honorable mention. Any thoughts on that?
It was a phenomenal episode. It was really... I think that, I don't know if you said it or not because it was a couple of the things on there, but when he's talking about judging and essentially if you judge, you lose, that's a lesson that I've really, the whole team, we talk about that all the time, right? Is that if you judge, you lose, and let people just be the story that they are. That was probably one of the biggest things that came out of it. But I love watching him work when we saw him in person. Like you said, he's practicing what he's preaching. I could sit back and watch that guy interact with people for hours. It's fascinating.
Fascinating how he can make you feel like you're the only person in the room when
in a room of 5,000.
Yeah.
How does he make everybody feel like they're the only person in the room?
Charisma. Okay, number 5 is service advisors need to stop being average. So that was the title. That episode is about how to stop being average, stop measuring yourself against everybody else, stop repeating the same average tasks every day, stop comparing yourself to others, which is redundant here, and then to be a leader and raise your self-esteem. But that's number 5.
Yeah,
interesting,
good.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then number 4 is morning routines of millionaire service advisors. Now, remember when we had the idea for this episode, we were playing off of the book, The Millionaire Service Advisor, but that's number 4. So morning routine of millionaire service advisors. We talked about the first thing that you want to consider.
It's the coffee.
What does that mean?
So we were talking about essentially that the coffee and how we start the day was really, really important. And I think we went off on a little bit of
like when you're making coffee, this is what you should think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how you present yourself, dress, there's a bunch of good stuff in that one, but that's fun.
It was probably my favorite episode to film.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why is that?
It was just, it was really one of the first times I just kind of actually interviewed you. Do you remember that format? Mm-mm. Oh, okay.
But I think that format works really well.
Yeah, so I thought that was the first time that we'd done it like that, and I was able to kind of ask the questions in ways that you really were really open up about some great ideas for advisors on how to pick up and like what really, really worked for you. It just that format was...
I think that format works because I don't have the pressure. I have the freedom to expand on things. I'm not driving.
Yes.
Right? That's great. Number 3, questions service advisors should be asking. It's a pretty good list.
Yeah, we must have put out...
Do you remember doing that one?
Yeah, we did. I would say that we probably did, between the two of us, we had lists, and I bet we did 10 or 15 questions that you could be asking. Certainly some are leading, and then the biggest thing at the end of the day is making sure that you're asking the customer about themselves.
Yeah, and something that might be interesting to you watching or listening to this is the way that we do this is we come up with these topics, and then you and I will separately, we have a day or two, so we'll have the production meeting on Monday, we'll talk about the topics, and then you'll come up with a list independently and I will. Sometimes we'll share the list, sometimes we won't, but it's always really fun to hear what ideas you came up with and then me to give you my ideas and go back and forth, but that's the process. So we have a little time to think about it, so they're not random, like it's not on the spot.
Yeah. You think that would surprise people is knowing how much, like, what we do in preparation for the show? Like, it's not just that we film this thing. We think a lot about, like, what goes into it.
No, nor should they.
Yeah.
I think people, at the end of the day, just want what they want, and they don't care how it was made.
Maybe.
They don't want, just show me the baby.
Okay.
They don't want to hear about the childbirth.
That guy from 7-Eleven didn't want to see
I will say, though, when people, especially at our old office, they wanted their picture on the SDR set.
The most, that was a thing.
People want to sit
in
in the
camp.
chairs, and they which is just insight into how much people care about it. You know, they feel like they're part of it, which is
by far
great.
the most photographed thing in that office was this set.
So interesting, because I thought this would have been backwards, but interestingly, 3, 4, and 5 are service advisor, right?
Yeah.
But now number 2 is service manager. There's way more advisors in the country than there are managers. So it's interesting to me that this one ranked as high as it did. But 9 reasons why service managers fail is number 2.
It was a killer list.
Yeah. What's your favorite one on that list?
Tribal knowledge.
I was going to say the same thing. It's probably the most common thing in our industry is we're doing things out of automatic pilot, not because they make sense.
That's right. Just the way we've always done it.
Yep, it is what it is. We don't want to, we don't want to be different.
Nope.
So that's number 2, and then the number 1. I wish we had a drum set in here, like the number 1 topic that you consumed the most of is tips to become a great service manager. Tips to become a great service manager. So once again, surprisingly, service manager was 1 and 2, not service advisor. And maybe the word great is what made that pull.
I like that 1 is great and then 2 is doom and gloom. But both related.
Oh. So the positive twist pulled better
It
than the
won
negative
out,
twist.
right?
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but you're right. That's interesting. Well, I'm glad the positive pulled better because sometimes I don't like having these like dog whistle negative.
Yeah.
I know they pull better, but it's not always my favorite. So, tips to become a great service manager was the number one, which is really, really fun. The other thing I want to say is the next episode on the drive-by, I'm going to give you your Christmas present on the show. So I want you to open it on the show because I think it'll be fun.
You've been
and then
excited.
we'll do a drive-by.
This
We'll do a
present for
question.
a little while.
Yeah, very excited.
You've been teasing it a little bit.
Well, just teasing you.
Yeah. Yeah, no one else cares. It's me, but it's been fun for you to tease.
And then you can give me my gift if you got me a gift. You alluded that it's a blow-up doll, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
We can edit all that out, but
what if Kevin just blurs it? Like you can see that it's a blow-up doll, but he blurs it. That'd be perfect.
You're insinuating that I'm going to blow up the blow-up doll.
Well, you might just
Does
get
a blow-up doll come with a pump, or do I have to blow it up?
Oh, I think it's way more intimate if you blow
It's
it up
interesting
without
what
the pump.
you know about blow-up dolls.
Yeah.
You seem like you're...
That's the technology that goes into a blow-up doll. It's fine. They also like if you're on the carpool lane and you put the blow-up doll in the passenger seat, like you're good to go.
What does it say about me that after all the years we've been together, that your idea for a gift for me is a blow-up doll? What does that say about me as a friend, a leader, whatever?
Yeah. That I'm trying to give you gifts that matter.
No, maybe it doesn't say that. Maybe it's the opposite of that.
That I've got work to do?
Or everything's a joke to you?
Well, that might be a little more accurate.
It might be. That was fun. So what we learned today, everybody hates Carvana.
Yep.
I'm having a big birthday party, and you could be invited. Go to info@chriscollinsinc.com if you want to apply for it. I'm not sure what we're going to charge for it yet. It'll be less than what we'll charge for it going forward, but
this
we're
might
going to
be
have
the
to pay something
introductory
to
rate.
come. But it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be
so fun to do it here with home field advantage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Great. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.